President Trump taking aim at the media yet again with a new round of blistering attacks this weekend.
You know, what we've done is, they even say, it really has been, as you say, amazing. It's been a miracle to a lot of people. It's been a miracle because I campaigned, and I purposely didn't mention the kind of numbers that we're achieving because I didn't want to be accused of exaggeration, right? By the fake news media. They're so dishonest. These are among the most dishonest human beings you will ever meet.
The president also whipping up media hysteria with this tweet, quote, "Fake news reporting, a complete fabrication that I am concerned about the meeting my wonderful son, Donald, had in Trump Tower. This was a meeting to get information on an opponent, totally legal and done all the time in politics. And it went nowhere. I did not know about it." Many in the press are claiming it's a stunning omission. But, as some have pointed out, Trump's tweet isn't that different from what he said a year ago.
So I think from a practical standpoint, most people would have taken that meeting. It's called opposition research or even research into your opponent. I've had many people, I have only been in politics for 2 years, but I've had many people call up, oh, gee, we have information on this factor or this person or, frankly, Hillary. That's very standard in politics.
All right, Dan, I was reading the Washington Post over the weekend, and Mark Thiessen had a great column.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to bring this
What
to
section
Richard's
of the paper is he in, Jesse?
attention. That would be A2. His column ran in A2. And he asked this question. He said, what is the difference between what Donald Jr. did at the Trump Tower meeting and what Hillary Clinton did? And one of the main differences, he points out, is that Hillary Clinton actively solicited Russian dirt on an opponent by paying that cutout in Britain to get it from Russian sources. Donald Trump Jr. didn't solicit anything. The Russians came to him. Do you see the difference there?
No, I don't see the difference at all. Here's
How
why.
could you not, Richard?
Because there was.
I drove that right through your head.
No, I think
How simple can I make it?
I think you were more like ships passing in the night because the facts are completely different.
What are the facts? How are they different?
Even in the emails that
How are they
Don,
different?
I'm getting ready to tell you if you'd allow me to do it.
I'm ready to listen.
Great. This is wonderful. So even in the emails that Don Jr. released, there was somebody who was like, we have somebody from who's connected to Putin, who's a lawyer in the Kremlin, and she has all this information on Hillary. Would you meet with her?
And he
at
said
that
yes.
particular point, yes. And at that particular point in time, that's where it becomes illegal. This happened.
What is the law that's being broken?
Well, it's first of all, you cannot accept contributions of any kind from foreign entities. That's what the federal statute says.
Did he accept them?
In accepting the meeting, one would argue. I'm not a lawyer.
The meeting is not information, and the law clearly
give you
states.
An example.
Because I have the law
I'm
right
glad
here.
You brought the law.
52 U.S. Code 301-121. Nothing about meetings. It is about a donation or a contribution.
Yes,
and
but there could be in-kind
What came of the meeting? Zilch, Richard, zilch. There's no crime there.
But here,
Tammy,
let me make a point.
How right am I?
Wait.
Am I right, Tammy, or am I right?
Well, yeah, look, here's what this has been the entire argument. This does happen all the time, right? The big difference is, well, obviously it's happened twice here. You've got a meeting with people looking for dirt, but then you've got the DNC, as you've noted, paying money for information from the Russians. While her husband is getting a $500,000 paycheck for a Russian speech, while she is making deals to give 20% of our uranium to Russia as well.
There's so much falsehoods.
But here's what has been, I think, a very good point over the weekend as well, that all of this pointing at Donald Trump is about really projection, that it's all of the things that the Democrats have been doing with the Russians within that framework to distract from that. It's a typical tactic. You accuse your opponent of what you've been doing so that nobody turns around to look at you.
Dana, what do you think?
That's what's happening.
What do you think about the latest iteration of the Trump Jr. Tower scandal?
I just maybe it is exactly what the president said last year, but it's not what Sekulow, his lawyer, said. And this weekend he had to say, I was given bad information. I passed along bad information. And he won't elaborate. But, you know, that seems to be a recurring problem in this situation.
He threw himself under the bus.
Correct?
I am a broken record. I was actually going to write down I'm a broken record. I saw that. This is... if I were home watching this, my head would explode because I would not care. And especially if I were a retired executive who worked in business, who probably took a half a dozen different meetings a day in your building. And I've said this myself as an editor of a number of magazines. I took meetings with people I didn't even know, or I sent people to meetings. It wasn't a big deal. You didn't care. Somebody come back and turn out, yeah, that guy turned out to be a drug dealer. I didn't know he was a drug dealer. He said he wanted to buy advertising. People have meetings all the time. They send their lowly assistants or whoever is around to these meetings. It drives me crazy that this is something that is somehow bigger than an actual candidate buying dirt sight unseen from the Russians through a British spy. That this getting a 20-minute meeting that you don't even give a damn about is somehow. But you know, it also gets me about the media. A lot of these people have never worked in business before, so they don't understand this. But they make phone calls to you. A reporter will make a phone call to you to tell you or ask you about dirt about your coworker. All right? They are doing the same exact kind of thing. Every reporter that has written a thing about the media has done this kind of thing.
No one's calling you about dirt on me, right?
But to your point about people not caring, Gallup
you didn't
does
say
this.
no.
Everybody takes the call, Jesse.
You guys, but you literally are right about people not caring. Gallup did the list about what's the most important issue you're facing and what you care about. Russia didn't even, it got an asterisk.
Yes.
Below everything else in the world.
They care more about Jesse's hair. We proved this.
And look, it's
Against my better judgment, I'm going to give Richard a short last word. Short.
So I'll be very brief.
An apology?
This is not a business. This is actually a campaign, and campaigns are governed by laws. The law says you can't take foreign contributions. It's been done every time a foreign entity has come to a campaign. They've usually called the FBI. In 2000, when it happened to the Al Gore campaign.
So why did they?
Information
How come they didn't do it?
They immediately called the FBI. What Don Jr. should have done.
Should have.
Called the FBI.
How come he didn't?
This would have been a
no, let me ask you. Why do you think he didn't? No. Why do you? Why do you think he didn't? He didn't know. They're not politicians, Richard. They're not politicians. They're businessmen. They take meetings.
Ignorance of the law is not a defense.
No, it actually is a defense in this case because they didn't know.
It's never a defense.
And you know who did know? The FBI.
You're so
they
pure.
didn't tell the Trump campaign, did they?
And lastly, Clinton paid for Russian dirt. Don Jr.
And they knew.
The last word.
And they knew. And they knew.
That was for the tease. That was